Guys, this is the final day, the final matchup of the Scan versus Gypsy show match series. First up, we had Scan play Protoss against Gypsy 3 times in Protoss vs Terran, and Scan ended up losing 1-2. Then he played Zerg against Gypsy, ended up winning 2-1, and now it is Scan's main race, so definitely he is favored here. In the bottom right of Polypoid, in game number 1 of the TVT series, it is Scan. And his opponent in the top left, Gypsy. For those of you who haven't watched yet, there's a lot of great games already having been played. And just to summarize real quick about the players, we have Scan, who is a pro gamer. He plays in ASL and with all the other top pros all the time. He's always up at the very top of the ladder as well. And then we have Gypsy, who is a top non-Korean player. He lives in Canada and definitely, I would say, top 2 Terran in the scene. So, yeah, I think it's a good, even match. It has been so far, tied up 3-3, but the TVT is going to be a little bit hard. That being said, Gypsy has the best mechanics, in my opinion, amongst the foreigners. So that should help him a little bit with the early game and getting some map control. Like he might be able to, for instance, outdo Scan by way of vulture production if Scan doesn't do a very dedicated vulture strategy. So some of it will be the openers, some of it will be the mechanics. Obviously Scan favored here, but I'm hoping that Gypsy can take a game and make it super close. All right, so both are actually doing gas in cross spawns. So this is even as far as openers go. If you're in cross spawns and one of you goes for the 15cc or CC first, with both of which are without gas, you just kind of start with an advantage. We don't have that this time, so that's kind of nice to see, honestly. When someone gets that type of early advantage going, then it's, yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of, I guess there's ways to fight back, but you definitely see someone that has like, okay, this guy has more SCVs and more units and more map control, and it's an uphill battle. So Gypsy going for the scout, so is Scan. Looks like they both scout each other second. SCVs off gas, both going for factory. So it looks like it'll just be a straight up factory expansion with them actually scouting each other at the same time as well, which is very nice. A very even start here on Polypoid. Polypoid, I think, by the way, one of our better TVT maps. Definitely a very interesting one that you can do a lot of different strategies on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to end up doing on it. The other maps actually play really differently than Polypoid in TVT. Like, for instance, Eclipse will be map 3, Ascension map 2. And yeah, it'll be cool to see how they open on those maps because of that. Now, Scan going for that CC. We'll throw that down immediately. We have 2 Marines here, and it looks like Scan went just 1 Marine. So that's going to give him actually like a small edge in the early game. As you can see, his command center is a little bit quicker than Gypsy's. It's not the biggest deal, but it is something. But the one thing you have to watch out for is without the Marine, the second Marine, you don't gun down the barracks anywhere near as quickly. And the barracks can get a bit more scouting for Gypsy. Now here comes that scouting barracks for Scan across the map, bringing home his scout SCV. The scout SCV for Gypsy going to get out of here as well. As that vulture pops out, you do want to withdraw your SCV if you haven't lost it yet. All right, so add-on coming up, Both of them only making 1 vulture. I think it's quite likely that we're going to see mass speed vultures this game, but we'll see. You don't have to on Polypoid. There are other openers, like you can go mines, you can go for Goliath builds, things like that. So 2 factories on both sides. Upgrade. Okay, so 3 factories. So we immediately see that Scan is going into 3 factory vulture. And this is the strongest way to play overall, because it gives you opportunities to kill your opponent if they have less vultures. It gives you opportunities to deal economic damage. It gives you map control. It puts mines everywhere. This is the best opener, is 3 factory vulture, but it's a little bit tough, and I'll talk about that in a second. On Gypsy's side, he is going for probably mines here. This is actually a build that I use a lot. He's going for 2 factory vulture mines, likely, into Goliaths. So he'll get a few mines out on the map because mines finish before speed, and obviously we see that Scan started a 3rd factory before his speed upgrade. So he has plenty of time to lay some mines out on the map and then get into Goliath so he doesn't die against the vultures. But what I was mentioning about the vultures, basically if you both go 3-fact vulture, the strongest thing that you can do... Oh god, he's in trouble. Ooh, he sends 1 in. Scan might jump on him now. It's possible because he basically got 3 factories up as quickly as you can. And now he knows he's up a vulture no matter what. All right, so the mines are going to now this is a little bit dangerous. If Scan had gone speed... oh, he has his speed now. This is super dangerous for Gypsy to be out here right now. If Scan just moved out already and caught vultures, Gypsy would die. Oh, he's making a tank. Gypsy might die here. It is possible. So the vulture's coming across the map. He's going to be able to pick this one off immediately. And there's just not much defense here. He hasn't really made a wall. Scan can target down the vultures and marines so quickly at this point, and then he can just start killing SCVs. Definitely a little, Gypsy not playing the build that safely. Okay, so you see he's killed a lot of SCVs there. Look at those supply differentials, 54 to 39 already. This is why 3-factory vulture is so strong, because you actually are the one that can attack. Gypsy has no opportunities for attack or anything like that right now. And at this point, Scan will probably just make a few more rounds of vultures, like get like 12, maybe 15, and then go into siege tanks. We see he is going for a dropship as well, so, or a starport as well. So he can go cloak, he can go dropship, whatever he wants, because he has pretty much control of the map. Like, we do have some mines out for Gypsy, which will help. He's not dead, and by the way, a lot of the supply advantage is in the vultures. You want to think of vultures kind of like you would think about like roaches in StarCraft 2, where the supply doesn't mean as much as it looks like, because the vultures like don't fight as well as the other 2 supply factory units. But there is going to be a slight SCV advantage for Scan here as well. So it is, Scan is winning this game, but it is not over as of yet. Like, if Gypsy hadn't blocked his ramp when those came in and the vultures scooted up and he got like 5, 6, 7 more SCV kills, then I would be saying, okay, this game is pretty much over. And that does happen sometimes in TVT. Now you can see he's laying mines absolutely everywhere. Gypsy has a good idea of where the mines are being laid because, again, he does have some mines out himself for spotting. And the main thing for Gypsy here is to make sure he's not contained when tanks come out. The first tanks are starting to pop out. His barracks sees that across the map, and he just needs to make sure he clears this area before then. Yeah, so we hear a couple scans going off as Gypsy moves forward. So he has to decide, like, is he going to try to expand up here? It's harder to clear mines up here than it is up here. So he might just take this as his 4th base. And if you take this as your 4th base, oh god, the vulture drop went off. Look at that. Oh, he is in here, and Gypsy coming back up with his speed vultures. Going to be able to clear these out, but he is losing a fair amount of SCVs here. You can see Scan continuing to build on that lead, and he sees exactly what Gypsy's up to, which is 4 factory at the moment. Gypsy's economy not looking super hot, right? He lost a few SCVs with the first push. The drop just killed a few more, and again, he doesn't have any opportunities to attack. 4 more vultures going up to the side. Likely going to try another drop here. Gypsy doesn't really have anything waiting. A lot of tanks being pumped out. Staying on those 3 factories, which I think is the right way to play it. You don't really need to add up any more factories here. Oh, God. Some more vultures sneaking in. The SCVs being pulled all over the place. Yeah, a lot of damage being dealt right now. You know, Gypsy did choose a very technical opener this game, and you can see how hard it is to block something basic like the 3-factory vulture. It's just like Scan is getting in, getting damage, has that map control still, isn't really afraid of any counters. He's getting his own 3rd CC up. Yeah, it's a little bit slower, but I don't think he cares about that at all right now. You can see he's up almost 30 supply. Okay, that's a good catch right there. Gypsy kills off the dropship. So that'll probably be it for drops for a little bit. Yeah, he's not making it anymore. It's not like the dropship costs the same amount of gas as a factory. So generally, you're going to want to get your factories up before replacing that. So a third add-on here for Gypsy. He does have a huge gas bank, and a lot of that's because he did lose a lot of SCVs here. He also added in vultures of his own. So at least that's going to allow him to keep up on siege tanks for a little bit. But Scan does have a slight advantage in that as well. 5 siege tanks here, 4 here. So 9 tanks against 5 right now. They'll both be pumping out 3 at a time. Yeah, the next thing we want to watch for, basically, is someone going to go get a big contain on? And by the way, because they're both taking mineral bases here, what we should see is a bit of a factory explosion. For Gypsy, it's going to be a little bit slower because he lost a lot of SCVs already this game. But for Scan, you see it's already occurring because his economy hasn't been touched. And this is a map, Polypoid is a map where you can get 7 facts, 8 facts, 9 facts, kind of however many you want, because it is pretty wide open. So you can just like pour out vultures and really take control of the map for a little bit. Now, remember, vultures don't scale that well into the late game in TVT. So while they're super powerful early on, like you can max out with the vultures, but if your opponent has about 150 supply that's mostly tank Goliath, or even just siege tanks with the vultures sitting near them, your vultures aren't going to be that useful for attacking. They can still run around and do some things, but over time you want to bleed them off a little bit and get into other better units. Now, Gypsy's coming out onto the map. Scan has that supply advantage. Lots of vultures and tanks moving through the center. Gypsy coming down. I think Gypsy should siege right here. Yeah, look, this is a good move. This is a good move. He has siege tanks up here. Now he has some here, so he's kind of holding the center. And what this is doing is, ooh, careful with those glides. Those are going to be popped. Little bit sloppy there from Gypsy. That's all right, though. What he's doing here is kind of setting up an overall line so that he can later on take this area. This is very important. Because he's a little bit behind, he can't get as forward on the map as Scan. Right now, Scan, this is a dominating position he's in. Look, you can kind of look at this like go, right? Like, he's making a line of tanks here. He has a line here. These will probably move up a little bit, because if he can just deny these 2 bases, that puts a lot of pressure on a Gypsy to do something before the map becomes completely taken. So Scan moving up the side with these tanks. He might want to just take this high ground. If you get this area contained and this contained, you basically win on Polypoid. Your opponent is going to have to really make some magic. All right, so Gypsy siege is up there. By the way, +1 is done over here. We do have +1 on the way. And do we have a science facility? I don't see it. He is going Wraiths. No science facility yet. 4th base is set up. And look at this. Trying to break in now. Yeah, this is where Scan is really starting to dominate. And you can see he was up 30 supply, and now he's going to be up like 40 supply because he's just being a bit more efficient with this, because he has more factories. He has the 7 pumping for a long time. Gypsy is finally starting to add his on as his economy has recovered, but his map control has not. Scan continuing to push up his siege line. A little bit messy there, so he's going to lose a few extra tanks. But still has that advantage. You can see, just look at that mini-map in the bottom left. All the yellow dots all around. Definitely helpful. Just a single mine out there for Gypsy. Not that useful. Science facility now coming up, going towards that +2 attack. Nice little depot wall, but he's going to have to put a couple tanks up here, which is going to spread him even thinner down here. And you can see how he's basically been boxed in to this quadrant, right? Oh, pushing forward. He wants to break out through here, because that's basically what I was talking about, where if you get completely boxed into 4 bases, the game is becoming hopeless very quickly. You can only get out through busting, which is already very hard against tanks in siege mode, or through dropships, which is very predictable and takes a lot of investment to get those dropships up. So yeah, it's looking really rough for Gypsy, but you know, he's macroing well. He's getting a lot of units out. His SCV count is really, really good right now. He's not like super oversaturated because he's going to be stuck on these bases. This one's actually a little bit undersaturated. Definitely wants to get a few more there, but you know, he might be stuck on 4 bases for a long time this game. Okay, Gypsy pushing forward. Scan is bringing up more units. Gets his vultures out in front. Good targeting. This is important to target the siege tanks with the siege tanks. The vultures you don't care about. You'll clean those up afterwards, but you need to eliminate those siege tanks. That one vulture in the middle being annoying as hell. All right, Scan starting to expand all over the map now. You can see he's really utilizing his advantage. His supply going to continue to go back up. Like, Gypsy is just struggling to push out at all. And, like, Gypsy has, like, a small % chance he can still do something in this game. He still has a big economy. He can still do things like max out. And obviously, if Scan makes a mistake, like attacking into him, that's where Gypsy can suddenly roll through the map and kill some bases. But I think what we're going to see here is as these Wraiths come up, Gypsy might just GG because he's going to lose this position if Scan brings his Wraiths here. He just... Where are the Goliaths? We don't see any for Gypsy. And it's definitely not the game-losing move. Like, the fact that he doesn't have Goliaths. You do things like skip Goliaths to try to get more tanks when you're behind, which makes moves like this powerful, yes. Now, Gypsy trying to break out here. Yeah, as this fails, we should be seeing a GG. He's losing so many tanks on all sides. More Wraiths coming up. He does have those dropships being made, so like that's actually that's kind of nice, but obviously if the Wraiths find them, it just the bad position becomes worse and worse and worse. You see mass missile turrets going up in the center here for Scan. Starting to make them on the side as well. Cleaning out some of this. And yeah, there it is. The GG is Gypsy takes count of where he's at on the map in the match.